Berserk Chapter 379 just got out and it was disappointing. Chapter 379 just dropped yesterday, which is 14th February 2025, and I was super excited for it until it dropped. Everything happening currently in the manga is super hype, and we are slowly building up to maybe the final war against Falconia, and literally every single panel in Berserk is a delight to the eyes. So, if it is really such a good story, why am I calling it disappointing? Well, that is what I am here to explain. Berserk, if you don't know, is objectively the greatest fantasy story, novel, manga, comic, whatever you want to call it, ever. Ever since it's released, it has been the highest rated manga of all time for all the right reasons, and even other media fans like One Piece or Dark Souls and others agree that it deserves the #1 spot. It has one of the greatest, saddest, and one of the most well-made main characters, and to me, the greatest main character or just the greatest character ever written, Guts. A manga written by one of the, if not the best mangaka of all time, the late Kentaro Miura-sensei. A story so good that God was like, nope, this story is way too good for humanity, you are not allowed to complete it, and took its creator away from us. On May 6, 2021, millions of hearts crumbled. Just at the age of 54, due to acute aortic dissection, one of the greatest humans to ever walk on Earth passed away. Berserk fans were crushed. Everyone thought that just like the life of Guts, his ending will also be sad, will also be incomplete. But then, 1 year after the death of Miura-sensei, a miracle occurred. Before passing away, Miura-sensei asked his best friend to finish the greatest story for him. And in the June of 2022, the dream was revived. Kouji Mori took it under him that he will finish his best friend's story and decided to work on Berserk himself. Kouji Mori started working on Berserk, and although his art style was slightly different than Miura-sensei, his writing was just amazing as Miura-sensei, and his work was instantly loved. I also love his art style a lot. He does take insanely long to drop new chapters though, but that is understandable too. He does not want to rush his best friend's work. But because of how loved and adored Berserk is, whenever there is an announcement of a new chapter, the entire community gets super excited. Up until recently, Mori's work has been widely loved, and it really has just been amazing. The Cushion meeting, Rickert working for them, Guts and gang being saved by them, everything has just been super clean and just amazing. But then, Chapter 379 dropped. And let me tell you, as big of a Berserk fan as I am disappointed. Wow, that was a long backstory. But hello there people, it is me, your classic Indian scammer, back again, and today I'm going to be reviewing Chapter 379 of Berserk, and we will be talking about the things that I loved, the things that I didn't love, and the biggest problem with Mori's writing. But real quick before we get into the video, if you don't know, Berserk is my favorite just any sort of media of all time. I love it more than anything else, and it is literally perfection for me. So I have the complete right to criticize it. Also, I hate doing this, but YouTube tells me that really less % of you guys have subscribed, so be sure to subscribe if you enjoy the video. It means a lot to me, and it helps me to understand what type of videos you guys are into. Now, without any further ado, let's talk about the events leading up to Chapter 379. Casca was kidnapped by the Falcon and Guts was depressed. Right then, a lot of apostles attacked the fairyland and it got completely destroyed. Unfortunately, Guts' crew was attacked by the Cushion, but luckily, it was led by Sillet and Rickert. Every surviving member of the fairyland was brought to the land of Cushion, and Guts, whose life is just so damn sad, is now locked up behind bars because of how scary he is. The Cushions are having a top secret meeting about an attack on Falconia, but right then, one of the best assassins of the Falcon appears at the meeting, Rakshasa, and he starts killing everyone. Then he also summons a Clifoth or however you want to pronounce it, and the entire land is now filled with trolls and such. That has been the story up until now. Now, in Chapter 379, we see that everyone's going crazy. The elephants are out of control, the trolls are killing everyone, and it is just looking really bad. We see that in an alleyway, Ishidoro and Puck are seeing what's happening, and they get cornered by trolls. Right when it looks like it's getting bad, the mustache guy saves the day. Let's go! I love this guy. He is one of my favorite characters in the entire story. He saves them and the three of them fight together. In the courtroom, the elephants are just killing everyone and Silat is fighting Rakshasa. And that is when it becomes absolute garbage. First, while fighting Rakshasa, Silat tells Daiba to use telepathy to talk to all the people in the kingdom. Daiba, being the goat he is, easily does it. And not only that, he also gets the magical beasts under his control while communicating to every person on the island or like on the land. Chad Daiba. Silat then gives a super bullshit power of friendship wannabe Erwin speech, and that somehow just gives everyone a speed and attack damage boost, and even normal villagers start killing trolls. It's insane. This was one of the things that made Berserk way more enjoyable than any other fantasy comics, that it never had this talk no jutsu bullshit where just by talking one person gets a shitload of motivation. Sure, it had its moments when talking actually mattered, and it like was really good for the story, but not like this. This actually fucking sucks. I hate it so much. But the thing that infuriates me even more is that this is not even the worst part. As Silat gives his, like wannabe president speech, and everyone literally becomes red-pilled Adonises, they see that the trolls are still in a large number and are outnumbering them. And right then, to save the day, the greatest sorceress of all time, Farnese, appears and does something which I cannot even fathom. This fucking sucks. I talked about this when I reviewed the last chapter too, that Farnese is absolutely one of my favorite characters in all of fiction because of just how beautiful and perfect her character development is. It is really one of the, if not the best character development I have ever seen. The way she transforms from a cynical, tyrannical control freak to this beautiful, understanding, loving and helpful girl is just so heartwarming to see. But ever since Shirk has been unconscious for the past 2 chapters, Farnese has just been made this world-saving super important character, and it simply sucks. In the last chapter before Rakshasa even summoned the Quillforth, Farnese was somehow able to sense it even before the other mages who, for the record, are way more trained than her and have been training for way longer than she ever has. And then probably the most bullshit moment in all of Berserk happened in chapter 379. When everyone was dying and they were all getting outnumbered, out of nowhere a huge light appears from the sky. The light is insanely bright and it's large enough to cover the entire capital, which burns all the trolls inside in an instant. No newbie or even a highly trained mage should be able to perform an attack of this scale without any massive preparations. Like when Miura-sensei was writing Berserk, it felt super balanced where every character was getting slow but amazing character development at their own pace, and it was just such a delight to watch. But ever since Mori has been writing it, first of all, most of his focus has just seemingly been on Farnese, and the way he is giving character development just feels so forced and just outright bad. After the Andrew Tate's massive speech, every single person becomes the greatest warrior ever and the trolls are suddenly no threat at all. After that, the goat Daiba uses Rakshasa's magical beast against him because he just do be cool like that. Also, I didn't know that Gojo was Daiba's student. Look at how cool their domains are. After that, we see a really cool but super short battle sequence between Silat and Rakshasa, where Silat absolutely dominates and Rakshasa runs away in the hunt of the darkness. And if you have read Berserk, you know that there is only one place which has so much darkness that even a black hole seems to shine in front of it. Rakshasa finds his way to where Guts is being held, and I really loved this part at the end of the chapter where he's just ominously standing outside of Guts' cell and he simply says, "There you are at last." This part is super fucking cool, and that is where the chapter ends. This chapter was like the Wild West. It had its good, it had its bad, and it had its ugly part. Overall, this chapter was great. I mean, it's Berserk. I absolutely love it, but for the first time after reading Berserk, I'm not feeling sad, which makes me super mad. Because what I'm feeling right now is way worse than sad. It's heartbreak, betrayal, disappointment. The essence of Berserk, the thing that makes Berserk literally the best, is the fact that the story pretty much always revolved around Guts and his battles. Like, it is completely centered around one guy. But despite that, Miura-sensei's writing is so good that even though Guts was always the most important and focused on character in the entire series, every character felt super important and cherished. The way he balanced always having the spotlight on the main character, but at the same time balancing the development of the other characters, is something I have never ever seen before. And believe me, having the story completely centered around one guy while still making sure that the other characters are portrayed in an amazing way is insanely hard. I am somewhat of a writer myself, and believe me, I cannot do that at all. I'll either make a story where everyone is equally important or a story where one character is just the greatest. There is no in between. But that is why Miura-sensei is one of the and maybe the greatest author of all time. But looking at Mori's writing, the essence that made Berserk so damn good seems to be slipping away little by little. That's why I want Mori to do an amazing job just like Miura-sensei and keep Berserk in its rightful place as the greatest fantasy comic of all time. That is really all that I had to say for today. I am genuinely sad and disappointed by this chapter. I hope that the next chapter is super redeeming, which for the record is going to be coming out on the 28th of February, so mark your calendars. But yeah, thank you so much for watching so far. It means a lot. If you do want to help me out, drop a comment. It really does help me out a lot. People think it doesn't help that much, but it really does. So let me know what your favorite character from Berserk is in the comments. And like the video if you enjoyed. 1K likes and I will do a complete uncensored review of everyone's favorite family-friendly anime overflow. And subscribe right now. How are we at less subscribers in the official One Piece English channel? Subscribe right now and let's crush them. If you want to know what the best indie story game of all time is, then click here. And if you want to watch me write about some other anime, manga or movie stuff, then click here. That is really all. Level up quick and don't be a dick. See you next time.